The Keokuk County Expo Fair Kickoff Barbecue Cook-Off is Saturday, July 13th. $100 per team, up to 4. Deadline to sign up is Friday, June 28th. Cash payout is $350 to first place per category. Meal for the public starts at 5:30 with a free will offering. Be sure to sign up by the entry deadline, June 28th. Stop at the Keokuk County Extension Office to pick up a packet. Proceeds to support the Keokuk County Expo. Sponsored by Keokuk County Farm Bureau. Contemporary Christian artist Leanna Crawford is coming to the Watch Year Opera House in Watch Year, Iowa, Saturday, June 29th at 7 p.m. Doors open up at 6 p.m. Advance tickets are $15 plus tax, $20 at the door.
Hey, it's Leanna Crawford, and I am so cheery to be coming to What Cheer, Iowa. It's going to be such a sweet night of music and praising Jesus together, and I cannot wait to see you there.
All proceeds to support the Tri-County Food Pantry. Brought to you by the Watch Year Methodist Church. Ticket information can be found on the Watch Year Methodist Church Facebook page. The 4th annual Travis Greiner Memorial Tractor Ride is Saturday, June 29th. Sign-up begins at 6:30 a.m. behind Greiner Crop Service, east of Keota Water Tower. Free will donation. Includes lunch and snacks along the ride. Proceeds to Area 4-H and FFA fairs. The ride leaves Keota at 7:45 and will be a 60-mile round trip. Sponsored by Southeast Iowa Tractor Association Incorporated. It's the 4th annual Travis Greiner Memorial Tractor Ride, Saturday, June 29th. And if you don't have a tractor, come and watch along the route.
And now, your hosts of the Card Subject to Change podcast, the For Frequency's Sake Tag Team Champions of the World, the Wizard CZ, and never wrong, Nick Gold.
Hello, fans, one and all. Welcome to another exciting edition of the Card Subject to Change podcast, the podcast by the fan for the fan. Of course, I am your host, Never Wrong, Nick Bull. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, my co-tag champ of the For Frequency's Sake Network. We were on the road defending those titles last night, weren't we, Wiz?
We sure were. What a wild night. Before we talk about that, just want to let you know we are powered by Lopez Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo, and protected by Jared Zook Country Financial. We have a guest in the studio helping us out. But before we get to that, Nick, I think we need to give a huge thank you shout out to Absolute Pro Wrestling and everything that happened last night. What an amazing night Saturday night was as we record this.
Yeah, we went up last night to Waterloo for an Absolute Pro Wrestling show. Of course, we did our podcast before the show. I want to thank everybody that was involved with that. Went off without a hitch. I mean, we had interviews lined up. Everybody just streamed in. It was perfect. It went so good. It went so fast. And we're like, oh, now what are we going to do? Jason Prentice peeks his head around the curtain and says, hey, our equipment crashed. You guys want to broadcast a wrestling show? And we thought it was a rib at first, not going to lie. But Jason was being totally truthful and wanted us to get a still shot of the ring and be able to commentate the live action for the people that were watching online, and we were glad to do so. And yeah, I'm still riding high. I still can't believe it happened. Yesterday was a whirlwind. Last night was a whirlwind, but glad to be back, sailing our course here. Glad that Stryker is joining us, of course. Stryker, big fan and friend of the show, friend of everyone here. Glad to have him in here with us today, talking all things Clash of the Castle. But what a day yesterday was, man. What a ride.
Wrestle hangover is the word, the term I want to use.
It's a real thing. It's a real thing.
Oh, man. So much to talk about. This weekend had a lot of wrestling action, whether you were at Dreamwave, SCW Pro, APW, Clash at the Castle. And that's what we're here to talk about. Clash at the Castle, coming to you from Glasgow, Scotland. Drew McIntyre's backyard, and Drew McIntyre course, in that main event. We'll talk about that and everything going on, gentlemen. But Stryker, how are you feeling today? Welcome back to the show.
Well, thank you for having me back. And what a show and what a weekend for wrestling fans anywhere.
Absolutely.
You were able to partake of both SCW Pro shows this weekend. Of course, Mercado on 5th on Friday, and then the wrestling show they had in Bluegrass last night. Just talk a little bit about those 2 nights of wrestling and what were you able to experience.
Well, I would say probably for Mercado wise, we got to see a lot of new faces, which I've personally never seen. There was a man named Two Scoops Tommy Test, and he went by 2 different names because one name for Saturday and one name for Friday, but I remember for Friday he was known as Turbo Man, and he wore a Iron Man mask, luchador mask.
Sure.
And we crowned the first ever Mercado champion, and our good friend Cornboy won the Battle Royal for the main event. And we got to see
Very
the
cool.
return of the Lucha legend Latin Thunder to represent the title.
Yeah, I did see that picture, and it looked like good crowds at both Mercado on 5th on Friday night, and then SCW Pro last night in Bluegrass. Were the pictures telling us the truth that there was good crowds at both?
Oh yeah, there always is. And that's why I love to go to SCW, just to see all those people in. I got to bring my cousins for the first time for their first SCW show at Bluegrass.
And how was that for the first time? Did they happen to enjoy it?
They had the best time of their lives.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
That's great to know. I mean, you can go to a wrestling show and have such a good time, but I think it's all fair to say after such a long weekend and Monday staring us in the face, the wrestle hangover is real. CZ pointed it out here in the opening moments of the show. The wrestling hangover is real. But let's get down to tasks, I guess, and talk about what we're here to talk about, and that's Clash of the Castle. Took place in Glasgow, Scotland yesterday, another WWE Premium Live event. And we were talking before we went on the air here. They gave a pretty good effort. I'm not knocking Glasgow. They weren't France, but they gave it a try, and they were loud and rambunctious as well.
Oh, sure.
What do you think about that audience, Stryker?
I 100% agree with you that it was hard to beat France, but I would say they were close.
Yes.
But France was still much better reactions purposes.
Now, funny story.
And you've got to
Oh, go ahead, CZ.
go ahead. I was just going to say, you've got to imagine that those overseas crowds or those out-of-country crowds are as hyped up as they are because they don't get those live shows as much as we do. We are very spoiled here in the States to have shows somewhere, big shows like that every week somewhere.
Oh, for sure.
We tried our best on the write-up yesterday to avoid spoilers, but I think it got to a certain time where we're like, okay, we got to look and see what happened because we want to know what happened.
For sure.
I think we were both surprised. Maybe everybody here is surprised in the room. The show kicks off with the WWE Championship match. Maybe thinking it wasn't going to be the main event, thinking maybe the Drew Priest match would be the main event since it was in Scotland. But I did not see Cody and AJ Styles kicking off the show. But I'm telling you what, I'm glad they went first because this really set the tone for the show. I thought these guys went out there and put on a hell of an I-Quit match.
Oh, 100%.
And just the dynamic of the match, the way things played out was really well done. I don't want to jump ahead to the end, but the ending was I thought very, very good because you had to think that Styles knew he wasn't going to get out of the situation he was in, and he saved himself from getting hit by the steel steps to end the match, only to get that steel step shot anyway from Cody Rhodes.
I was a little shocked that Cody went through with the metal steps after the match, but maybe this is a a polarizing moment for Cody's reign, where he is showing the crowd, he's showing the audience, he's showing the fans that he's willing to do whatever it takes to keep that title around him. He's willing to go to the next step. He's willing to go the next gear, turn the next page, to be able to keep that title, to be able to stay on top of the heap in WWE. I think it showed another side of Cody that we aren't used to seeing, but I think, it's good to know that he has that side and is able to show it when he needs to.
For sure, for sure. I will point out, I pointed this out the last time we reviewed a WWE event. Cody, once again, going to the well 3 times with the Crossroads. They're overusing that move, and it's going to kill it for him, in my opinion.
Now, I didn't mind it here. It's an I Quit match. I know what you mean, though, going to the well a little too often, but you're trying to keep your man down. You're trying to get them to say I quit. I mean, I guess maybe I'd understand a little more if it was a last man standing match, which it wasn't. It wasn't an I Quit match, so I can see where you're coming from, and I'll agree with what you're saying. But yes, it is something to keep an eye on in the upcoming shows of the Crossroads being quote unquote used too much. Striker, did you get that impression that it's being used too much, or you noticed that when he's been doing it 3 times?
Oh yeah, I think I've started noticing it more. I've noticed he's been doing it ever since WrestleMania 39 for the first match with him and Roman.
Yep.
And then not until I think he hasn't really done the 3 Crossroads on Raw. It's just pay-per-views I've noticed. I don't know if any of you noticed that.
Yeah, I've noticed that. So I'm a gamer. I don't know if either of you are. I know Nick's not a big gamer, but I do play 2K24 every once in a while, and they've incorporated what they call a super finisher, where if you have
I've done it all the time on there.
That is what Cody Rhodes Triple Crossroads is a super finisher, and it seems excessive to me. It
might be just promoting the new game.
That could be, but they don't mention it on there when he does it 3 times. So
yeah,
I don't know. I don't want to see his finishing move become just, what's the word I'm looking for? The opposite of protected.
Well,
you don't want it to lose its shine.
Yes.
Well, you know what it reminds me of? You guys might say I'm cruising when I say it, but it reminds me of Young Bucks doing super kicks every single time they have an opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm not as much against it as what CZ is. I guess I understood it when it happened with Roman, because that was ending a long story. A year in the making, lost at WrestleMania the year before, and then is able to come back and triumph and do it. I don't have a problem, as big of a problem with as CZ does, but I see what CZ means. When he does them consecutively, I like it better than him pausing in between each one. Does it consecutively, it's bam, bam, bam. I can let that slide a little bit, but if there's like pause in between each one, I think it's a little too much. But it's something to keep an eye on here in the coming months, as he's still your WWE champion. He was able to make AJ Styles say "I quit,"
like a true face of the company kind of thing.
And the true face of the company. It's something to keep an eye on for sure. I don't know if you guys saw the announcement or not. I seen it this morning when I was flipping through my phone.
I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Talking about AJ Styles?
Yep.
Yeah, AJ Styles, as WWE continues kind of to expand their brand, they had Jordan Grayson on an NXT show, and then Tatum Paxley shows up on a TNA show. AJ Styles is going to be taking on Naomichi Marufuji at a Pro Wrestling Noah event
Ooh.
Marufuji was a name back in the early Ring of Honor days that performed on those shows. Ring of Honor had an agreement with Pro Wrestling Noah early on in their early days. So these two may have crossed paths at some point in Ring of Honor, once or twice, but this is a pretty big announcement for a pretty big active member of the WWE universe, one of the best wrestlers in the world, AJ Styles, to step out of WWE and step into a Pro Wrestling Noah ring.
Well, I don't know if you guys